Hello, everyone. Today is September 13th, 2024. And for this topic, I'm about to just get on with more of the debate. And I know for some of you who are just very displeased by the fact, I've noticed this. Well, sorry, I can't really speak for that for you. See me, I don't know you, know what you're doing behind cameras and whatnot. But for some of you who think I'm wrong, saying, Trump didn't go out so well on the CNN, on the ABC News debate with Kamala Harris, and I can admit he didn't do so well because the reason is that he was on a Democratic platform. So of course they were going to attack him more than they would with Kamala Harris. See, like I'm saying, there's nothing wrong with addressing the issue. But you gotta admit, as a supporter of as someone who, like me, who hasn't voted for Trump but rather would want him to win, didn't go out so well that answering a simple question. Yes, he has answered it, but I think he puts it in a little more context than that. I think he answers the questions. Like, I have a feeling he answers the questions, but then he goes a little bit off topic, like kind of away from the questions. And that's understandable because he's just addressing the issue in this nation. Kamala, on the other hand, I even said that she has totally prepared for this. She was totally prepared for this debate. And don't get me wrong, when I say this, that some people, like Kamala, some people who are saying this, like Kamala, jump on the whole blame Trump bandwagon, the whole train, bandwagon, wherever you want to go, whatever that meaning is. They go around and call Trump like, oh, he's too scared to debate Kamala because, he's a coward and a pussy and whatnot. And then he joins in, and then now some of them accuse him of being, oh, well, told you. And he said, oh, well, he's not so great itself. Well, that wouldn't make it, I just don't understand the concept of that. He actually volunteered. He actually did it. He actually went on the the debate with Kamala. Sure, he didn't go out so well because it was run by a Democratic, but would it be any different if it was from CNN? If it was from, like, Fox or whatnot, or whatever? No, it'd be no different at all. I'm pretty sure that Fox would have full on support Trump, and then they would do all the hardball questions on, like, Kamala. So maybe she would know what it's like. Maybe she knows what it's like to be fact checked and having to be answered like hardball questions and not softball ones, whatever that meaning is. But other than that, I know for some of you may say, some of you who are just, not totally agreeing with me, and I understand. I'm not here to make you side. I'm not making some of you agreeing to me at all. I'm just saying it's just turned to go out so well because let's face it, he was on a Democratic news channel. Let's face it. Of course they did. Of course they were going to pinpoint on how bad he looks. Don't get me wrong. But Kamala, she sounds so basic. I'm going to say this as again. She sounds so basic. She sounds no different than Joe Biden. And I'm not saying there was anything wrong with Trump addressing that, about how the way, like, she just answers the exact same thing, like, kind of taking what Biden did. Yeah, because she's no different than Biden. I guess the difference is that she's not senile. It doesn't have to be told what to do, but trust me, all presidents have to be told what to do eventually. Trump is different, and I think he's a fair point on that one, because I don't think it had to do with this debate. He mentioned, well, it wasn't on the debate, but it was probably after how Putin endorsed Kamala. And what are my thoughts on that? And I have to say, well, why is Putin doing that? Trump claims to say that, it's probably for, he's a good guy or he's doing him a favor or whatnot. Like, I don't know, I haven't, sorry, how do I say this? Uh, sorry, I'm just like spacing out real quick. Sorry, I'm just spacing out. But I don't know. He said some of those things. He's either doing him a favor or he's just he doesn't understand why. But my reason is that I hope this is something the media will have to push. Some of the media will have to push. I don't care if it's Republican or Democrat. That some of the media will try to pinpoint on, say, well, someone will try to pinpoint this conspiracy and say, oh, well, Kamala's going to be like working with Putin and Trump is just like jealous that he didn't have to work with them, or, still blaming the fact, or they could actually blame him saying, well, Trump is actually jealous because Putin saw Trump as a weakling and whatnot, and that's why he wants to endorse Kamala and work something with her and whatnot. My question is, it's either this. Putin, I don't know the guy myself, so I can't just assume, but these are just guesses. Putin's only doing it. Putin's only endorsing Kamala Harris just to fuck with her because she knows how pathetic and weak she is. And let's just say this, that eventually they would have to work. Like, what if Putin wants to, like, work with her? Say, all right, well, here's what's going to happen. Because kind of tricking him a little. Kind of tricking her a little, saying, all right, well, we can end the Ukraine war, but here are these demands to do it. And of course, if Kamala refuses, then this was just Putin's moment, then just fuck with the leaders of America. And you go like, oh, well, you had your chance. I was playing nice. Don't get me wrong. I was playing nice. But you have to understand, this is Russia you're talking about, a communist country. The leaders who run it and the government who runs it are snakes. Well, I can't just assume that. I can't. There could be good Russian. There could be good communist people. Sure, they do some really bad laws and whatnot, but still, I don't blame. Why would I, go after them? How do I say this? Why would we want to change the way that Russia is? Just leave them alone. Make friends with them. Make friends with our enemies. Quit the N-war. Quit the Cold War drama nonsense. It needs to go. All right, because this is how we end up in wars anyway. And trust me, don't get me wrong, because when influences do something like this, let's just say some of them are the Democrats. I know some of the Democrats are Marxists and even socialism, or even socialists. Some of them. Can I say the same thing with Trump? Yeah, I can admit that there are some racist people who think that, we support Trump because he... You know why I think some racists actually support Trump? Because I think that they see him as a leader of America and he's all about free speech. Yeah, that's what it is. Don't get me wrong. I've asked my history teacher. Well, he asked this question before. Catesville Regional High School. His name's Mr. Myers. And he says to the class, do you think it's illegal to... I don't know how to... sorry. Is it legal to have your own Ku Klux Klan at the moment? Basically saying, can you raise a Ku Klux Klan? And we would think, and some of us would think, yeah, because it's a racist group. No, it's not illegal. It's legal. It's free speech. And I was very surprised. Wait, you mean to tell me that a hate group who, hates people of color is allowed on the United States? And yes, there's still some racists. Don't get me wrong. I think some of them actually endorse Trump, but Trump doesn't like that. Don't get me wrong. He doesn't like that. Really. He doesn't acknowledge any of the people that they support him for anyway. He doesn't acknowledge that. So, of course, they only see the people that are in groups, let's just say hate groups or militias and whatnot. Then the media can just pinpoint that on and say, oh, well, that would make Trump a racist because look at all these racist supporters going for him. Okay, but if some Democrats are saying that, then what about people like Antifa? But what about Antifa? Oh, those people who protect trans people and attack police officers, that literally attack police officers, basically civil unrest. And they encourage that in the group. Oh, but you're going to call Trump a racist and a dictator because they actually have some groups of racists supported for Trump, but you can't acknowledge your own group. You can't acknowledge your own hate group as well. It's hypocritical and it's propaganda. They want you to think that they're not all bad. Trust me, Republicans say the same thing. Don't get me wrong. I don't see any of these sides coming out as right, but if I wanted to say what is right for this country, it's Trump. He's a businessman. He's not a politician. Look, I hate to admit this to some of you. We do not need politicians anymore. We don't. Because they say the same thing. They've been doing it ever since 2003 when Bush was still in office. Which was ridiculous because they said the same thing about, oh, well, we could do this to our economy. Eventually they fix it and then it just goes back from being shit afterwards. Why is that? Because it always leads out to wars anyway. Why do we need to go to wars all of a sudden? Think of a president that hasn't. Well, you could say Trump, but there was still war happening during Trump, but I think he stopped it halfway during his presidency. I don't know when, but the war stopped. We didn't need to be fighting in the Middle Eastern anymore. Why were we still fighting ever since Barack Obama was still in office? Why are we still fighting this endless nonsense? Oh, I don't know. Maybe to assert dominance and get rid of Osama bin Laden. If we did stop Osama bin Laden, which was announced the day when he actually was killed, we still went to war. We didn't just say, all right, well, we killed the greatest leader who plotted 9/11. Then we're still... No, we still kept on fighting after that. And inflation still went up because we spent most of our equipment on the military. And the housing and everything went up. Everything. So don't get me wrong when I say this, is that Bush, Clinton, Barack Obama, and slightly a little bit of Joe Biden, and I'm not surprised if it's going to be Kamala, because I think that's kind of the plan for Kamala Harris too. That, I've even said this, she has no plan whatsoever. She claims to say that she does, but it just sounds so basic than what Joe Biden would have said. But can you blame Joe Biden for getting into the situation to begin with? I mean, yeah, he was technically part of it, but he's so senile. They knew that themselves. And my grandfather told me that the Democrats do not care what they hire. If they don't see anyone as good, then they can always replace them. They're replaceable. Every single one that claims to say that they're better, but turns out being shit, are replaceable. They're still all replaceable. No matter how old you think they are, they're replaceable. Republicans claim to say, well, we're least replaceable. At the moment, I don't see any other Republican running. You could claim to say, well, Ron DeSantis, and you get the other ones, but they're not as good as how Trump is representing. They don't have anyone that could replace Trump. They don't have anyone. But they're trying to get Trump off the podium, depending on what side. I believe some of the parts of the right wants to try to do that, and some of the parts of the left that wants to try to do that. Because they're trying to put propaganda and shit into you guys' mouth to claim to say, we encourage you to vote for this side, no matter what we're representing for, and we want you to feel endangered and scared, and scare tactic, which I saw a video. I swear to you, this is from a Democratic side, that there was this old lady crying when Kamala Harris just went over and just went to hug her. And basically, that is not how supporters should be acting. This is not how some of the parties should be representing. You don't represent fear and a scare tactic, making people think that if you vote for this guy, he's going to come after you. I wonder who did the exact same thing. I wonder what era did the exact same thing. I don't know. Nazis? When they claim to say, oh, well, the Jewish people are very bad people. They're going to kill you and whatnot. Which is ridiculous. How could they claim to say, oh, well, Trump's a fascist, Trump's a dictator, but they encourage hate speech, but they do the exact same thing what some of the Republicans would do, that some of the Democrats would influence hate and fear upon these supporters that they want to make you think. They want to make you think, oh, we're here for you. It's okay. They're not there for you. They're not. They're just trying to look good on the public because once they go into office, they're like a completely different person. Sure, I guess they could act the same. Don't get me wrong. They could be the exact same person. But other than that, something doesn't... No, she's not very promising. She sounds so basic as hell. She sounds no different than Joe Biden. She sounds no different than Barack Obama. Claiming to say, oh, but we could fix this. We have... No. Politicians were needed at one point. Now it's not anymore. They ruined it. They weaponized it. Because now it's all about control. It's all about controlling the politicians now. Making you promise that you voted for the right person, which ends up being shit anyway. I swear. And I have a feeling, look, don't get me wrong, guys. Trump has the numbers. He has the numbers. I don't care what the media will claim to say. Claim to say, like, oh, but he does have the numbers and whatnot. Well, then why are they still going after him? You think they would have less effort in at least saying, like, wouldn't you think they would have less effort into saying these kinds of things if they claim to say if Trump was losing? Why are they still promoting it? Sun still tells me that they know that it's a lie, and they're just telling you that. Some of it's telling me that, oh, well, we're still going to keep on promoting our Democratic ads and whatnot. Well, then if Trump's losing, then why still promote that garbage? I don't know, so we could help still raise awareness? But you wouldn't be doing that if it wasn't out of competition. Why are you overdoing it if you claim to say that you're winning? Oh, because we're trying to win over... So it's by force. So you're just showing what... So you're just showing what you want to show on televisions and the phones and the advertisements. Anywhere, really. But who am I kidding? The right does it anyway as well. Some of the right does it anyway as well, so don't get me wrong. Yeah. Kamala's not a great leader. She's faking the shit. I know she's lying about everything. Like, trust me. Democrats actually have a plan, but it turns out being fake anyway. They do it. Hey, Biden had a plan. Look where that got us. Really, nothing has changed ever since COVID. Nothing changed. Nothing has changed. Oh, except, Russia invading Ukraine, and now some parts of Ukraine are invading Russia at the moment. I mean, good for Ukraine. But the issue is that we're getting ourselves involved in it. We helped them do that. We did. Don't get me wrong. I think this is intentionally what we wanted. I think once she's going to be in office, it won't happen immediately. But I did mention that Putin prediction. But I think she's going to try to get us into a third world war. I think so. I think that she will, because nothing sounds her. She sounds so controlled. Like, she sounds brainwashed. She sounds so fake. Like, why can't we have anyone different besides politicians? Oh, but if we did that, then that wouldn't be... Oh, but then who's going to manage all these policies and whatnot? Why would that even matter? They still fuck it up anyway. They're controlled. Politicians only care about the money, some of the money. They claim to say they're there for the people. Well, then, if some of them claim to say that they're for the people, then explain Barack Obama, explain Joe Biden, explain Bush, explain Bill Clinton, that was still around 2000s. Explain those people. Why did we still end out with still inflation? We still in wars. It claimed to say, oh, but it's for terrorist reasons. Even if we stop the guy that planned 9/11, why do we still fight? Why are we still fighting? We know it's endless. We know that they could still keep on doing it. But all it took was one person that wasn't a politician. Some people claim to say that we need politicians because it helps manage all this. No, it does not. We need leaders. Politicians is what we needed before, because my grandmother told me that politicians weren't as bad as we thought they were before. They weren't as bad, but look what happened now. The more we modernize, the more we advance with our technology. Look where that's going. Nowhere. It's all leading them to say the same thing because they're lying to you, because they're being bought and paid for. Do I think that Barack Obama and Bush and Bill Clinton and, how would I say this, Joe Biden were all being bought? Yeah, they're all bought. I mean, let's face it. They end up doing a shit job anyway. Could I say the same thing with Trump? Well, Trump, there were some flaws to when Trump was in office, but at least we didn't have to go to wars. At least there was at least an issue. At least things were affordable. At least I could buy things for $1 now, like back then, than I would have to now. Why are dollar stores not like things I want to pay for now? Why is it like $2? Why is it like $3.50? Well, you so broke that you can't afford $2.50. Like, that's so, it says, well, that's so ridiculous. How will you manage more of your money more? Why do we need to spend more? Why do we need to spend more? Oh, so that way some of us can complain about worrying about, oh, my boss isn't giving me enough till later. Okay. Why spend more on something that you could just get less for? Why do that? Well, unfortunately, that's kind of the mindset. Politicians is what you need. They control you. They act like you don't need all this, and you could spend more. Because why not? It helps fuel their economy when they print unlimited money. And I don't understand it. Why do some people still fall for it? If you try telling them this, they still would be in denial. But hey, that's what brainwashing does. Am I going to get mad for this brainwashing people? No, I'm going to get mad for the people that are representing America and the parties that they control. Divide and conquer. Let's face it, that's all it is. Well, why do you think that two supporters who have different opinions will never get along? Will never. Because it's all for propaganda. It's all for joining sides. Don't get me wrong. Instead of uniting the people, I know people some claim to say, but once Trump is back in office, he's going to be a great leader. I will tell you this. Trump is not close to being a great leader yet. The only difference is that what make him a great leader is fixing this economy, making friends with our allies and enemies, and uniting the parties. Uniting. Then we would have a great leader. Trump almost had those requirements. But instead, he didn't unite the parties, so it doesn't make him as close. We said, well, why would we need to do that if they're so corrupt? I thought you wanted to make friends with the bad people. Oh, I mean, we can make friends with... Oh, so you want to make friends with outside third world countries, which is fine by me, because then we don't have to worry about getting ourselves into a fucking World War III scenario, which we're somewhat already in. It's just a proxy. Some of us won't believe it, but I know we want to get ourselves involved. I know we're telling Ukraine that it's okay to not do these things, but we're not even keeping close tabs on them. We're not. We just know how much they spread, no matter how far they're doing, and they're asking all this, and we're providing all these supplies, money, and weapons. That we could say that, oh, but here's a certain meter of what they want. They don't. Well, you're not controlling that country, so what would you know what they're doing? What would you know? Well, we kind of know. We kind of know what they're doing. Okay, but if you know what you're doing, then should some of those powerful people also know if Trump did anything bad? Why isn't he in jail yet? Well, he had to pay a fine for the tax fraud and stuff like that. But if that's fraud, that's illegal, because if any individual does it themselves, they'd be thrown in jail, but not Trump. Is because we know it would invoke something. No, because you know it's bullshit. You know that some of them are doing it unlawfully and just saying that, oh, it's okay if we do this. Well, then, if they could do that to Trump, then that means they could do that with anyone, right? Because that wouldn't be fair. Because that'd be tyranny if they could just do it to just one individual who's running an office and just have people smuggle money underneath the table just to say a bunch of shit out in the media that they control. Don't get me, both parties have control of their own systems, but someone's really behind those two parties. And you can't blame the parties. You need to blame the individuals that actually are running it, like that are actually in control of it. Why are they teaching others to hate that party? Why is that other side teaching others how to influence that garbage on the others? Well, because you got to think it leads out to the very powerful people that are running our government. Let's face it. That's all it is, really. But other than that, that's all I got to say about this debate. I will say this, guys. That doesn't mean Trump didn't go out so well. You know what I have to say about this? Trump has the numbers. He's still winning. no matter how bad the debate was, some people still think some people still know that he's winning. I know it because why is there only meeting about Democrats claiming to say that they're winning? Why is it just Democratic? Well, it just kind of proves that if they're overdoing it and claiming to say, oh, they're winning, or they're winning, they're winning, well, then some tells me that they're not really winning and they're just over-exaggerating it a little bit because they think that they should push more content into it. But shouldn't you be less competition if you think that you weren't winning? I've seen less Republican ads than I would. I see less Republican ads than I would see with Democrats. Why is that? Oh, because something tells me that some of the Democrats that don't promote it, it's either they're being blocked or they need to put out as much content because they know they're winning. They know it. So of course, here's the thing. They might arrange something on October. They always do this October meetup. My grandfather says that every October, when Trump was eventually running, they always have something planned. They always did. Well, why is that? Well, why is it that they're always planning something? So, my prediction is, as again, I will say this, but I could be wrong, they might arrange another court date on him, and they're going to hold him back. Which, you cannot do that. You can't. But I think this is the moment, if they actually did do that, then our world government, and the way they represent it, and the way they control the parties, basically are saying, no, fuck you, he's a criminal, and you can't say shit about it, because we're going to make the news media claim to say that he is. Which we know it's bullshit, because they couldn't get him for anything before. Why did they claim to say they have it now? If they were to decide to push it. If it's not, then I'm completely wrong. But I'm just saying, we are about on a risk of not only a third world war, of escalate even further, but we are about to be, I think we're about to be witnessing a civil unrest as well. Nobody wants to talk about it because they think it's least is what that matters, and they already discussed it before. Guys, it's politically wrong to do all that. Then why do they still promote it? Why do they claim to say that? Why do they still provoke it? Why do they claim to say that, oh, but it's bad, but you still provoke it? Coincidence? What, I think that? What, I mean, no, I'm just asking, why do they still promote it? Why do they still make you vote for that other person, claim to say that Trump is this, and some of the other side is claiming to say, well, Kamala is that? Well, then, if you know it's going to cause some sort of conflict between the two supporting people, then shouldn't you know when to not start promoting? And then wouldn't you know how to just not promote that stuff? Oh, because we know people are bullshitting anyway. They always claim to say that they could take on us, but they can't because they're scared. It's just big words now. Okay, watch this. If Trump eventually does not win, oh, you're gonna see more of chances of protests and people getting upset because they know it was rigged to begin with. How do I say this? No, I think they could cheat. I think they're going to cheat by putting Trump into another court, or like another like trial, or court day or whatever. They might put him in another one. Claim to say, oh, we have the evidence for him, guys. We finally do. Not as saying that we finally do, but they're going to claim to say, guys, we got some reports about, a trial about to be happening for Donald Trump when he's about to be winning. But he's going to have to be held on the polls, and this is going to be great. Well, they won't say it's great. I'm just saying it's a parody that this is going to be great. Because now the people are going to be realizing that now we're going to trick a bunch of people into thinking that this will actually be the moment that Trump will go to jail. And then once Kamala wins, everything about this case is dropped. Everything. They won't drop it immediately as soon as she wins. It's going to take more time to do that, which is ridiculous. But I do have to say that's it for this video. Oh, one more other thing. So, I've been trying, for some of you who really won't believe it, but I'll post some screenshots of what I'm really talking about. So, for these screenshots that I have managed to try to get a hold of Destiny. Because I looked up his Kick channel, and they says, email and whatnot. So, I tried emailing him. I was really hoping I could get like some sort of interview with him and whatnot, and I'm really hoping it happens. But the likely chances of it are most likely zero, because he's a busy person. Can I blame him for that? No. I just want to at least debate with someone. I know for some of you may claim to say, oh, well, that's good, but what would you want to debate him about? Well, it could be anything. But I also want to point out the fact that I hate to go out old style, there were just some things that I just disagree with the fact that, like, this has just disgusted me as a person when I found out. Well, not today. It was way, like, before when the events were happening, when Trump almost got assassinated. And he says that if he was at that rally or whatever, he never said that he was at that rally, but I mean, I guess he did. But it's all I'm saying is that if he knows someone next to him got shot at the rally, then he would just laugh at that individual, basically saying he would laugh at the Trump supporter, which is disgusting and inhumane, because you don't laugh at someone's death. You don't laugh at someone who almost died. Well, you gotta laugh at 9/11 too, which a bunch of people did. So, well, that's different because it wasn't political. It wasn't political. Still, somebody died. There were people dying. And you think it's funny? Why do people still make 9/11 jokes? Why do they? Why do they do that? If some people claim to say that, but I think I'm going to make fun of the fact that a Republican almost got shot and someone did get killed. But some people still make jokes about 9/11 and what do you got to say about those people? It's kind of hypocritical. I know it's completely off topic from both sides, but it's very hypocritical to say, but that's not funny. But then you get some people who claim to say, I swear, if Destiny says something like, but that's like completely different than the Trump rally thing. Okay, but you acknowledge the bad on that one, but you didn't acknowledge the bad on the party if you were there and laugh at someone who died. That's very hypocritical. You would laugh at someone who's a Trump supporter, but you wouldn't laugh at, you wouldn't laugh at the whole Trump rally shooting that Trump almost got assassinated the second time, but you wouldn't laugh at the 9/11 event? You wouldn't laugh? Well, I mean, I did hear about it, but I wasn't around for it to know what it's like. Well, you weren't around to know what it's like to be, like, being shot at the Pennsylvania rally. Well, why is that? It's very hypocritical. And it's disgusting because you're laughing at someone who has a belief of what they think. Sure, you think that they're delusional, but what does the right think of you as someone who doesn't like Trump? They say the same thing about you. I mean, why is that? For some people, I may ask. And yes, I did send him the link. I will send a screenshot of. I did send him an email, so you will have to look at the description. But I just want to have like a friendly interview with him. I really do. I also want to get more into contact, and I'm really hoping it could be live too. I'm not looking for any subscribers. I just want you guys to just realize that just put some common sense. This is what I don't understand in this world. People argue about this, and this side. Why do you support this? And whatnot. But I know why they do. I know why everybody's so mad at each other when they yell at each other back and forth. They're using profanity. It's because they're trying to prove a point. Because eventually that point is never proven because you claim to say, but we're just doing common sense. Then why are you getting aggressive about it? Why are you getting aggressive about, why are some people... Like, I know Destiny is trying to prove a point. I get that. I mean, he's smart. He has common sense, but he's trying to prove a point. Just use common sense than just proving a point. My little brother does it all the time. With me, my middle brother, and my mother. And he doesn't have to swear or anything like that. He doesn't have to use profanity. But people like Destiny, some people like Destiny and Sneeko and, I don't know, Andrew Tate have to prove a point? That's ridiculous, because then you look like a fool. You really do. I mean, they use the exact same, all three of these people have the exact same thing. They use slight common sense. Well, Destiny could be a lot more smart. I mean, how do I say this? He's a lot more smarter than Andrew Tate and Sneeko. So eventually I like to argue with that as well, with the other two people, Sneeko and Andrew Tate. But I can only do things on my phone. I can only contact from my phone. So if anyone's ever interested in watching this interview, yeah, let's do an interview or debate. Let's do a debate video. I know I keep on saying, like, I know I texted him, like, let's do an interview, but I'm seeing this more of a debate now. But I would love to, like, have any contact. I'd love to, like, actually talk to him. Even though me and him have different opinions than each other. But I would love to get along with that. I love to get along with that individual who has a different opinion than mine. Some people just wouldn't like that. I mean, I don't know this guy. I don't know which guy this is, but he was a college campus. His name's Kirk something. But he would go to our college campuses, and there was this one guy, and he had a fair point. The guy that was answering Kirk this question, that he may have not had the knowledge like he does, but why can't some of us get along when arguing in a conversation? And he had a fair point. He, like Kirk, was so intrigued that someone who had a different opinion than he did claimed to say, well, he's not all that smart. I'm not all that smart. So why? So is there really any need to use profanity in, like, proving a point? No. I mean, let's face it, both sides, like, how do I say this? Destiny and the other one, sure, Destiny may have been smarter than Sneeko, but how do I say this? They're dragging you down with them. So basically, two losers is one. So you know that, I don't know, it's a real thing, but have you ever noticed the battle? There's actually a skeleton that's actually a dinosaur fossilized that I'm just representing from. When these two dinosaurs fight because they look different, they run because they're both different species and they're both different races. The Velociraptor and the Protoceratops skeleton, which is a real thing. You could actually look it up. That I know I'm comparing dinosaurs with two people debating, but you have to understand that these two things have something in common: is that they fight. Is it that they fight out of aggression? I mean, you would think, like, well, I'm not talking about full-on fist fights with Sneeko and, like, Destiny and whatnot. No, because they both use, he says, well, basically, they're arguing over absolutely nothing by proving a point, by trying to survive and win, like, trying to survive and we're like, oh, who wants to see who gets proven better? Well, that's like that prime example of the Triceratops of the Velociraptor. I know it's ridiculous and it may not sound correct, but eventually these two animals drowned in a sandstorm as they died together. And look where that got them. I mean, look at, like, Sneeko and, like, Destiny, the way they argue, talk about, well, how do I say this? One's clearly smarter than the other, but you don't need to use profanity to win. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. And I know for some people claim to say, well, Destiny don't give a fuck. Okay. He's like, all right, cool. I mean, I'm not saying he should. I'm just saying. But if he claims to say he don't give a fuck, then why would you go out and say that I would laugh at someone at a Trump rally if he was there that got shot, he would laugh at them and make fun of them? Oh, because surely he don't have to give a fuck there, right? Laughing at someone who died, but I swear, if I have to bring up the fact that, oh, but you wouldn't laugh at a 9/11 event? I mean, but it doesn't have to be political. That's not what I'm saying for political. I'm stating the fact that you are laughing at the fact that someone died as a supporter. When someone just died, so it was a serious event. You would laugh at that? I mean, it was a serious event. You would laugh at that. Because someone has a different opinion than yours. What a hypocrite. What a hypocrite. Because you wouldn't laugh at something else that was so tragic, but you would laugh at someone that died at that event. I'm talking about deaths. Not political. I'm talking about deaths. Oh, but surely you don't have to give a fuck, right? That makes you sound so hypocritical. And it make you sound like an ass. But I'm just saying. There's some things I don't entirely agree with Destiny, and he's smart. I'll give him that, and that's a compliment. You are smarter. You are smarter than Sneeko and Andrew Tate. You are smarter than those people. You are absolutely smarter. But I get why you win, because you're trying to, like, make a point. And there's nothing wrong in making a point. I mean, you use common sense, but you're also getting upset with them. I mean, just as much as I am as well. I just don't understand. Like, that's, like, my reaction is, I don't understand how you could say something like that. I mean, am I going to get mad at you for being a supporter? I mean, what if something happened with Biden? My realistic reaction, since I don't care about these two parties, I say, well, that's sad. Because no matter what side you support, I even said it in my last previous videos that I do not wish for Kamala, I do not wish for Biden, I do not wish for Barack Obama, and I wish for Trump to all get shot or die. I do not wish that for all of them, no matter if one side is ridiculous than the other, when they're both ridiculous at the same time. I do not wish for any of them. I do not wish for anyone to die. I do not wish for any of them. But other than that, I know I've been ranting on for a while, and I know this video is going to be a lot longer, but thank you guys for watching. I will get back with some other topics, you know, where I feel like it. But I will say this, is that, you know, stay strong, stay smart, stay healthy, all those kinds of things. And I will post videos at another time if I ever feel like bringing out some other topics and whatnot. And hopefully, just maybe, I would actually get a response. I'd probably give it like a week or so, or maybe forever. I'm not expecting for the interview to happen at all. If it happens by the time I actually get into college and start working, then that's frustrating, because I've been waiting for that. Right now, I'm on free time, and I'm waiting for the VA, because it has to have a process before you go into community colleges. It's ridiculous, because I thought a high school diploma mattered as soon as you, like, went in there. Oh no, it takes a lot more than that. Okay, then I'm just surprised that teachers don't address that, because I just proved this before, that they want you to think that a high school diploma matters, when in reality it doesn't give two shits whatsoever. I mean, you still need it, don't get me wrong, but why do they make you think that it's just a high school diploma, when in reality they know some of them don't really go to college anyway, because the way they influence it is not college level. They just want you to end up working. That's the whole mindset. I mean, high school and work have something in common. They will have extra hours, right? I mean, one difference is that they get paid and one of them doesn't. But you do get breaks from there and there. So, kind of like what a job does. Oh, yes, and some jobs actually make you work during that break. And, oh, yeah, they also make you work during that break, too. Depending on what you want to do. Depending if you missed out on anything. So, no different than a job. No different. That's why if I went to a job, I'd be totally prepared for it. Even though I would claim to say, well, I don't need to do all this research. Well, it depends on the job that you want to work at after high school. Then I'd probably look into it. But if it's something like fast foods or groceries or wherever that doesn't include technology or being a mechanic or using hard labor, you would say fast foods also have like hard labor, but they're least have labor. I mean, sure, you're just moving around pressing a lot of buttons, but do you have to grind the coffee yourself? Do you have to how do I say this? Do you have to grind the coffee beans yourself? No. I mean, it's already crushed and ground and done and over it. A machine does everything, does the rest. See, now that's not much effort. I mean, you only do so little at a time, and some people claim to say, well, it does if you're constantly doing it over and over again. Well, you better be happy. I mean, you got to think of it like this, is that you just better be happy that you're just not the one having to make everything, like actually making fresh donuts, actually making fresh cup of coffee, like actually growing your own coffee, like growing like coffee beans, grinding them, putting it over whatever, and just making a coffee out of it without having to rely on a machine. That would be like real effort, because you would have to do everything by scratch. But of course, it's just provided. It's already there. So when a donut rack is almost gone, you just go in the back and just replace it. I mean, there really isn't just much effort. You're just doing the same thing over and over again. Don't get me wrong. But other than that, thank you guys for listening. I know I've been rambling on ever since, but hopefully I will eventually get an interview. I'd love to be in an interview. And Destiny, if you're watching this, because I've sent you a link, or if you'll ever decide to look into the email that I sent you, I'd be more happy to like do a debate with you. I love that. I want to get along with you. I want to actually at least become friends. I want to work something between us people and actually prove a point that no matter which people have a different opinion, you could still get along. It doesn't have to be propaganda. Like, it doesn't have to be propaganda to do that. Like, it doesn't need to. It's all about uniting the people. People like who have a different beliefs like I do. We can work something out even if we don't have the same opinions. We can absolutely work something out. Seriously. Not everything has to be about, oh, I don't like this guy because it is what it is. Okay, but you can't acknowledge your own party either? It says, well, you know, the Democrats have always been known to like be political and whatnot. But I don't know, I'm getting distracted. But other than that, thank you, everyone at Block of the Head. Thank you, everyone who wants to watch this. And thank you, Destiny, if you wanna watch this. And if there's any other interviewer that wants to go other way and do that. I mean, I'm not just looking for Destiny. I mean, I'm looking to debate anyone. Destiny right now is like one of the very few people I have noticed so far that's been making most of the debates so far on YouTube and whatnot. I don't even subscribe to him. I don't. I just look into his stuff and I just say, hey, well, he has some very valid points. But there's some things I'm not totally agreeing with. Okay? Don't get me wrong. But other than that, thank you.